No, not the Old Testament, not the New Testament, the Peruvian Testament. In my broken Spanish, it reads, Compilación de normas para la gestión pública para año fiscal 2009. The rules, the norms, the controls, right? The Bible, right? 500 pages. Now, if this was in normal print, notice 2 columns. I can read it like this. I have to hold it like this with glasses. This would be 1,500 pages in normal print. Have you seen it? You know what I'm referring to, the Bible? Right? Put your hand on the Bible. I swear, is space of opportunity, of incentives in order to budget and manage the results. Of course, I have to respect the Bible, and therefore I'm not going to tear out any of the pages. That's the job of the Congress and the municipalities and government decrees, etc. But it is very important. If I come back 11 years from now and I see this Bible, before I get off the plane, I will know that management and budgeting for results has not succeeded. Okay. You must ask yourself, what can we take away in order to make this possible? Every new requirement for information that you introduce is a burden for public servants if you don't take away old information. Okay. Every new procedure, every process, every control, every point of compliance gets in the way of budgeting and managing for results. Okay. And therefore, the countries that have been successful in budgeting for results, and Roberto Garcia Lopez mentioned a few countries earlier, are the countries which began by changing the way they manage. In New Zealand, for example, before the government passed the public finance law, which is based on results, the government passed what they call the state sector law, which completely revolutionized the operation of the civil service and management of government organizations. The same in Australia, the same in the United Kingdom. In the United Kingdom, Margaret Thatcher began to transform public finance in 1979. That's when she was elected prime minister. 8 years later, in 1987, she summoned a group together. What have we accomplished in the last 8 years? And they had a one-word answer. I'll tell it to you in Spanish. Nada. Nothing. And so they changed, and they began to modernize management. They changed management in order to make it possible to transform public finance. The story is a little different in the Netherlands, in Sweden, in Finland, in Norway, in Denmark. These are among the best managed countries in the world. Okay. To transform management in order to make space for budgeting for results. Now, why should you transform public management? And here on the screen, I have 5 statements about the logic of results-based management. And you notice that each one of these statements begins with the same 3 words. Performance improves when. Performance improves. What do you have to do? And these are statements which are accepted in the best managed countries in the world. First, performance improves when managers are informed what is expected of them and results are measured against expectations. In other words, I want to take Mario Marcel's first step. Remember, he had 4 different steps in order to budget for results. And his first one dealt with information. I want to take it a step further. not information alone, but how you use the information. The most fatal problem in budgeting and managing for results is that you produce information without regard for how you will use it. And people get discouraged. I spent extra time in the office. I prepared a report on the percentage of students who complete high school, on the number of students who drop out, on the incidence of violence in school, on the cost of special programs in the schools. All these are relevant for budgeting for results. I sent these reports with the data to my superiors, and nothing happened. When you budget for results and manage for results, before you ask for the information, think through how that information will be used and who will be using it. And here I suggest the following. The critical use of results-based information is to inform managers of what is expected of them, and then measure the results against those expectations. In other words, if you have information on school dropouts or high school graduates or on the number of special courses being offered, all this is relevant for results-based information. The people who run the education programs, who make the decisions, who allocate resources, have to be given those information, typically in the form of targets. Okay. And targets are selective. And this tells me that while Mario is certainly right that the first step is generating information, you don't want to drown in that information. You don't want it to be not only the first step, but the only or last step in budgeting for results. And therefore, you have to be selective. Okay? You can't tell a manager of a school about everything that happens in the school. It's possible in a mystery of education to generate more than 1,000 results indicators. More than 1,000. It is possible about everything that happens in the environment of school and delivering education. And what will the manager do with it? They'll be paralyzed. Each bit of information is equal to every other bit of information. So what we say over here, inform managers of what is expected of them. What are the handful, approximately, of the most critical measures of whether you are successful? What are the priorities of government next year in education? What is it spending more money on? And define this in terms of targets, and then measure results against them. That's the first thing. Second, performance improves when managers are given flexibility in carrying out assigned responsibilities. Looking at, pardon me for getting personal, looking around the room, I think most of you are managers. How do I know? Well, sometimes I look on the head and I see a lot of gray, and sometimes I look in the middle and I see more than there was earlier, right? These are the two signposts that we have managers in the room. There's a young lady in the middle thinks she's not a manager. Well, she's the exception. She was fast-tracked, maybe. Okay. But most of you are managers. Your business card calls you a manager, right? But are you really a manager? You come to the office, and everything that you do is decided in advance. This pocket of money goes for supplies. Not for supplies. It goes for office supplies. And this pocket of money goes for education supplies. And this goes for equipment. And this goes for travel. And this goes for training. Okay. Are you a manager? Yes, the card says you're a manager. A manager is a person who has the capacity to run the organization using their professional experience and judgment and values. That's what makes you into a manager. That requires the second point over here, flexibility in using resources. Take away flexibility, and managing and budgeting results is dead. You can take the shrouds, put over. Of course, don't change your card. You're still a manager. And of course, don't reduce your salary. You're still a manager. But you cannot manage. So that's the second point. Third, performance improves when operations